Today, we're pulling back the curtain on an organization that's more like a country within a country. It's a lifeline for over 1 billion people. We're, of course, talking about Indian Railways. So, how does a giant like this actually work day to day? Let's get into it.
I mean, really think about that question. Indian Railways is just massive. It employs millions and serves billions. So how on earth do you manage something on that scale? Well, it all comes down to a really specific and incredibly well thought out structure.
Right at the very top, you have the principal department heads. You can think of them as the executive leadership team, the C-suite of the railways. Every single critical function has a boss at this level, making sure their piece of this enormous machine is running perfectly.
And these leaders are officially known as the principal heads of departments, or PHODs for short. Each PHOD is the absolute authority in their field, responsible for everything from day-to-day efficiency to planning for the future. They're not just managers, they are the master architects of their part of the railway system.
And this table just, wow, it really gives you a sense of the scale, doesn't it? There's a PHOD for everything you can imagine. One person in charge of all train movements, another for every single inch of track and every bridge. But look at this one, the Principal Chief Personnel Officer, the PCPO. Can you even wrap your head around being the head of HR for one of the world's largest employers? Every single person, from the top engineers to the folks checking tickets, they all fall under this one office. That is a mind-boggling amount of responsibility.
But okay, these top bosses, the PHODs, they don't operate in a vacuum, not even close. Backing them up is a whole ecosystem of specialized groups called attached and subordinate offices. These are the railway's specialists, its think tanks, and its on-the-ground experts, all working together under the main railway board.
So first you have the attached offices. Their whole job is to be the research and development and advisory arm for the railway board. You can think of them as the brains of the operation, constantly pushing for innovation and giving expert advice. And the most important one here is RDSO, the Research, Designs, and Standards Organization. These folks in Lucknow are basically the technical nerve center for everything. You know the amazing new Vande Bharat trains, the high speeds, the advanced safety features? That's the kind of cutting-edge work that comes out of RDSO. They literally set the standards for the entire network.
All right, so if the attached offices are the thinkers, then the subordinate offices are definitely the doers. They're the ones who handle the massive, system-wide jobs like recruiting and training literally millions of people.
You know, just think about hiring for an organization this big. It's a monumental task. So how do they even begin to do it? Well, it all starts with this number, 21. Any ideas what that represents?
That's the number of railway recruitment boards, or RRBs, that are located all across India. This massive decentralized network is the engine that drives hiring for the entire railway system. It's a huge coordinated effort to find the right person for every single job out there.
But hiring people is just step one. Once you've got them, you need to train them to be the best. And that brings us to another absolutely critical part of the system, a whole network of academies dedicated to building a world-class railway workforce. These centralized training institutes are basically the universities of Indian Railways. This is where the next generation of railway leaders and experts are made. They come here to learn the incredibly specialized skills you need to run a modern, high-tech railway.
And what's really fascinating is just how specialized these places are. You've got the top tier one, the National Academy of Indian Railways, or NAIR, which is the premier place for officers. But then you have these incredibly focused institutes like IRICEN in Pune. Their whole world is civil engineering. We're talking tracks, bridges, tunnels, anything and everything that holds the physical railway together. And there are totally separate schools just for electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, you name it.
But hold on, because there's more. The structure we've seen so far is kind of the core of it all, but the Indian Railways is really a universe in itself, with a whole ecosystem of other organizations that are part of the family. Let's take a quick look.
A huge part of the Indian Railways story is how self-reliant it is. It actually manufactures a ton of its own equipment in these enormous production units. So you've got Chittaranjan building the electric engines, another factory building diesel ones, and others churning out coaches, wheels, axles. This is a huge strategic advantage because it gives them total control over their supply chain and technology.
And finally, you have this whole constellation of other major organizations. You probably know IRCTC, right? They handle all the catering and your online tickets. But then there's the unsung hero, CRIS, the Center for Railway Information Systems. They're the tech wizards behind the entire IT backbone. And then you have these massive corporations built for specific projects, like the one that built the Konkan Railway, an absolute marvel of engineering. It's just a vast, interconnected empire.
So, the next time you're on a train, just take a moment and remember this invisible army we've just met. From the PHOD in a boardroom making policy, to the RDSO engineer designing a safer coach, to the RRB that hired your train driver, and the academy that trained them, you realize that a simple train journey is anything but simple. It is a symphony of a million moving parts and a powerful testament to human organization. Makes you wonder, what other invisible systems are running our world? Something to think about.